I do a bit of a bloggy update because there's been a few developments in the past little while here. As you can tell, it's actually becoming to be a little bit of a springtime out, so we got some daylight in the condo for once. But also, this kind of marks my first anniversary of living here. I bought this place about a year ago in early March, so still here, I'm still alive, things are all good. Well, I just finished doing my income taxes for, Canada Revenue, and it turns out I made a bit of a profit off of this place, and I almost had to pay income tax if it weren't for some tax incentives. There's like a boatload of things that you can write off of your taxes if you rent out at least a portion of your home. Even after writing off like everything, the utilities, like services, condo fees, everything, I still made like about $4,400 in like net profit that I had to claim. And so if it weren't for like the home buyer's tax credit and like first time homeowner and a boatload of investments that I had to make to bring down my taxable income, I would have owed money to the government, but I don't, which is good. But I thought this would be a good segue to basically give you guys a bit of an update of all the things that I've learned, and believe me, I have learned a lot in the past year. The fact that I even survived is kind of amazing. But before I go any further, basically right now I have two roommates. We have a new guy. I rarely see him at all. He doesn't have a nickname yet or anything like that, but he's paying basically the equivalent of $520 a month, and then we still have tile setter guy who's paying $455. So making $975 still off of this place, which is good. But there's been a lot of changes and discoveries. First of all, through the whole course of the Mattel couple, basically the Mattel couple eviction was actually pretty good. I mean, it only cost me $30 to do the formal eviction, and of course that was a tax write-off, yay! But one thing that really pissed me off with that eviction is that the couple was paying me bi-weekly, and I actually really like bi-weekly payments simply because A, it's easier for the people to pay them because they usually get paid on a bi-weekly basis, but also I get more regular income. And when you pay for example, $330 bi-weekly, it looks a lot cheaper than $715 a month, which it actually equals out to be. When I did the eviction of the couple, though, because their lease still said it was monthly, I had to give them a full month's notice for them to evict, right? So when I did it in the middle of January, technically they weren't supposed to leave until the end of February. So that's 6 weeks of sheer hell I had to deal with. But I found out there's a way around it. With rental property, if it's a month-to-month thing, you have to give them a full month to leave. But if it's a weekly thing, which isn't that much different than bi-weekly, then I only have to give them 1 week's notice to leave. And I mean, it could be a notice even without cause, right? So it gives me a lot more power. Like for example, with the couple, instead of renting them to them bi-weekly, I could have rented them to them weekly. And, in the event that they had to be evicted, I could have just given notice on a Thursday and had them out by next Friday, right? So that's the new thing. That's my thing right now, is I'm renting it out weekly. So the new guy that's in the guy that doesn't have the nickname yet, he's paying $120 a week, which actually sounds pretty good, but it's like $520 a month actually, so it's awesome. So that's the new thing. I'm renting weekly now. Another thing I've learned is that including the utilities in all the rental, like I mean, a lot of people, they rent out, but they also split the utilities. Including it with the rent was a very smart thing to do because A, your tenants don't realize, how much, or in my case, how little you're paying in utilities. And also it's more convenient for them to pay, but also it's a huge tax write-off, right? So basically 2/3 of my costs, until utilities, services, everything, I get to write off. Another thing I've noticed is that I will never, ever, ever rent out to students ever again. It's just simply because their priorities are very different from people that have a regular job and just have to pay rent, right? And I mean, it's happened we've had 4 students live with us, and all of them have turned out to be disasters. The best people are the people that make their steady income, and they pay you rent, and they have a beer at the end of the day. Whereas students, they go and have parties, and then they gotta study at home, so they're all upset if there's noises in the house or whatever. People that I just feel that people that have a regular income and preferably paycheck to paycheck, because if they make too much income, then they leave. But people that make regular income are way better than students, which is kind of the opposite of what I thought I would actually cater to students. But they're very high maintenance, and I'll never ever rent out to students again. Another thing I've noticed too is that a lot of people, they charge damage deposit, right, when people move in. And I've stayed away from that simply because it is a bit of a big pain, basically, because you have to pay interest on the damage deposit. But also the way that I think about it is that, you know, you could have a room, let's say it rents for $500 a month, and you want a $500 damage deposit. Well, they have to come up with $1,000 just to get started. Or you could charge $600 a month, but not charge damage deposit. So technically the rent is higher, but it's easier to get started. Now, most people, again, the people that I like to cater to, they'll go with the $600 a month, but not the damage deposit. So all they have to do is rent from me for 5 months, and basically they paid the equivalent of a damage deposit that I don't even need to refund back. So really, it's a bit of a risk. There's probably maybe 1 in 20 people. Granted, I haven't had any. I had no damages in my house so far, knock on wood. But basically 1 in 20 people might cause damage to your home. And so that's a bit of a risk, right, that you gotta take. That's sort of my, you know, what I've learned renting out real estate. We've had all sorts of different people, and gonna have more. We're probably gonna have issues in the future. It's completely unavoidable, but it hasn't deterred me, and it's still the easiest money out there, really. I think I calculated that my share of the cost of owning this house was about $330 a month. So technically, it cost me $330 a month to live here, but I still made about $4,400 in income after taxes that basically paid for that. So I'm still living here for free, even with like 2 roommates here. So yeah, that's what's going on. Hopefully we'll do vlogs more often now, keep you guys more up to date. I think I'm kind of shifting, because I mean, this is my thing, right? I think this is what I'm born to do. I like this idea of renting out real estate. It gets my jollies going, I guess you can say. So anyways, you guys take care, and I need to like go to work in a couple of hours here. So we'll talk to you guys soon. See you.